As you can see, we just finished up the mathy problem here, doing the quadratic equation in order to solve the problem with the mug going up in the air and coming back down. At the beginning of that problem, I stated that you can technically get away with using this, where you find the velocity final first, and then you use that to find the time afterwards. At the very end of that, I said that technically those are the exact same things, and I want to show you that now. In order to show you that, let's back up here for just a second and not even worry about the specific numbers of this problem at all. The equation for quadratic is minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. As I showed here, a is just 1/2 acceleration, b is vi, and c is negative delta x. So let's look at this problem again if instead of solving it with numbers, we solve it specifically with variables. Well, negative b, that would be negative velocity initial. Okay, this would be plus or minus the square root of velocity initial squared. Minus 4, well, that stays the same. A is 1/2 acceleration, and c is negative delta x. On the bottom here, we have 2 times a being 1/2 acceleration. And now let's simplify. 2 cancels with 2. The 4 would cancel with this 2 to give us 2 there. And the negatives would cancel, simplifying to negative vi plus or minus the square root of vi squared plus 2a delta x all over a. Well, if you were to solve for velocity final here, you square root both sides. And since we square root, we would get a plus or minus in front. And then we would substitute this in here. But let's do a little bit of algebra first. Let's subtract that on the other side, and I'm actually going to put it out in front because I'm super weird, and divide by a in order to get delta t. Now, if you substitute this in here, you get negative vi plus or minus the square root of vi squared plus 2a delta x. Oh, look, they're the same thing. So that's why it works in both cases. The reason the plus or minus over here underneath the square root is addressing the velocity final both on the up when it's positive and the down when it's specifically negative. That's also seen in this problem right here. Everything underneath the square root that you spat out, like in this case it was 23.7, that was the velocity final. The reason why we end up with a positive answer and a negative answer is the positive answer comes from the velocity final going down when it's a negative number, because it is, and that spits out our 4.66 seconds. The other answer, the negative time, comes from when math would believe that that velocity would be up, which would have technically been before we launched it, which is why it's a negative answer. That's how you kind of resolve the two. Hopefully that was helpful.